I guess the thought of writing marketing just freezes most people's brains. I mean, there's really no other explanation for why there's such a massive gap between what people know in their brains and what they say when they sit down to type up a marketing piece. Now, the letter that I'm going to talk about on this podcast today, it's a perfect example of this lack of connecting with what you know. It's a well-written letter, meaning that your 11th grade English teacher would probably give it an A. I mean, it strings together sentences in a coherent way. It makes a decent case for what the problem is and what action they want the person reading it to take. It has a call to action. It asks the reader multiple times for a free inspection, but behind the beautiful prose that the English teacher would like lurks this dark little secret, okay? Here's the secret. Well, it's not really a secret. It's terrible. It's not going to work. It's terrible because it tells the reader a bunch of information that he thinks that he already knows that he doesn't think applies to him. And meanwhile, the truly important part of the discussion, it's completely omitted. It doesn't exist. It's not there. They failed to put the most important part of the argument in the letter. Yeah, that's right. The number one thing that's going to make somebody take action is not in the letter at all, and that's where I come in. My name is Rich Harshaw. I'm the founder and CEO of Level 10 Contractor. My company helps remodeling contractors generate 200 to 500 leads a month through powerhouse marketing, things like websites, SEO, pay-per-click, paid and organic social, and also media, including CTV, OTT, however you want to say it. I've got 30 years of experience. I have a book called Unlocking Unlimited Lead Flow, and I've helped hundreds of contractors write great ads that didn't just sound great, but they also actually worked, okay? So here's the situation. This was a few years back. It was a massive hailstorm that blew through Rockford, Illinois. That's where this company is located. There was a lot of roofs that were damaged, and as a result, lots of roof companies were replacing a lot of roofs on a lot of homes. Dog bites man. Everybody already knows that. The letter that was drafted by this roofing company, I'm going to read it to you, put it on the screen here in just a second. It was sent about a year after the big storm blew through, and it got practically no response, like crickets chirping. And when I read it to you, you're going to know exactly why. So let's go through it here. I'm going to put it on the screen. I'm going to stop and make some comments along the way, but here's the letter, okay? So it's got the name of the company at the top, Renaissance Roofing, and then it's got some like the office address, stuff like that. And then here's what the letter actually says. RE : regarding, I think, damaged roofing systems. Dear fellow Rockford homeowner, that's a great opener. You may have noticed a lot of new roofing systems being installed in the Rockford area over the past year. Many of these roofing systems, is that really what people call them? I don't know. Many of these roofing systems were damaged by a hailstorm last spring. As a contractor that specializes in historical roofing systems, our database indicates that your home has a slate roofing system. That sounds super mechanical. I'd like to make a joke there, but I'm going to pass. A slate roofing system is timeless, a true lifetime roof that is proven its value. But now is a great time to have your roofing system inspected by professionals. We have inspected other slate roofing systems in the Rockford. This sounds like one of those web pages that puts the keywords in there 1,000 times to try to trick Google, and Google just gets pissed. Well, I'm the reader of this letter, and I'm getting pissed, but actually probably wouldn't even read it because it's so boring. But anyway, back to the letter. Blah, blah, blah. They've been severely damaged by the hail. Since we were able to identify this damage, the owner's insurance, I think that should be homeowners insurance, but whatever. The owner's insurance company is now replacing these roofs with new lifetime roofing systems. That's right, a completely new roof, and one that is similar in design and appearance. They are not replacing with typical run-of-the-mill asphalt shingles, but true lifetime systems. This sounds like a brochure, like a bad brochure. We're offering a free inspection to determine if your roof may have hail damage. This inspection will take about 30 minutes, and if damage is found, additional time will be required to discuss how you can proceed to the next step. Wow, that sounds pretty committal. All right, back to the letter. Not having your roof inspected for hail damage now may result in huge costs in the future. You see, slate roofing systems are very expensive and require specialized equipment and highly skilled craftsmen to restore them. The hail may not have damaged your roof, but if it did, now is the time to correct the problem as it is covered by your homeowner's property insurance. I strongly recommend that you have your roof inspected by one of our experienced roofing specialists to ensure that your home and your roof are not damaged. This is truly a great opportunity to ensure the safety, security, comfort of your family. I want to jump off a cliff just reading this. Like I said, your 11th grade teacher give you a good grade. In terms of actually convincing people to do something, it's pretty crappy. Okay, back to the letter. Please call us at this phone number to schedule a free inspection today. Respectfully submitted, name of the guy, general manager. Okay, so that's the letter. It's got a lot of problems. And I'm going to let's discuss the top 7. And then I'm going to dive into all the stuff that was left out. Okay, but first, here's a question for you. Have you ever written a marketing piece that you thought was good, but it just didn't get any results? If you have done that, I want to hear about it. Drop a comment below and tell me what happened. What did you write about? And what do you think went wrong? And I'm going to give you an opportunity a little bit later to send me something if you want me to look at it on a future video. So on this letter, a number of things went wrong. 7, probably more than 7, but let's just go to the top 7. Number 1, they open up by telling me that there's a lot of roofs being installed lately. Well, what does that have to do with me? Why would I freaking care about that? Number 2, they waste time laying out the benefits benefits of a slate roof. Look, I already have a slate roof in this particular scenario. I don't mean me at my house. I mean people that are getting this letter. They don't need you to remind them that they made a good choice. They already know that. Number 3, they're telling you that now is a great time to get a roof inspection, but they don't tell me why it's a good time to get a roofing inspection. Spoiler alert, there's actually a really good reason. You'll get it here in just a second. Number 4, they're telling me that if I sustained hail damage, insurance can buy me a new roof, but it's already been a year. If I had a problem, I probably would have called a roofer earlier. Why would I wait a year to call a roofer after the storm if I had damage or if I realized I had damage? The answer is I probably wouldn't. Now, let's go to number 5. They offered me, again, a roof inspection to discuss any damage with me. But look, if I perceive, like I just said a minute ago, if I perceived that I had damage, I already would have called a roofer. Number 6, they tell me that it's expensive to fix roofs and I better take care of it now. If there is a problem, okay, but then they give me no context to prove that it's true or to explain why. Spoiler alert, again, it actually is very time sensitive. Again, I'll tell you that in just a second. And then finally, here's number 7, the last paragraph of the letter. It just repeats what they've already said for no apparent reason other than, I don't know, maybe they got to fill the space that is in the letter. I don't know why. It's dumb. Okay, now all of that combines for a pretty weak, non-compelling letter, just kind of muddling, middling, nondescript. Again, your English teacher probably would have loved it, and this is why I don't like English teachers. I want to write things that are convincing in a business environment. I've said this 10 million times in my career. I'm going to say it one more time right now. Finding a good copywriter is not that hard to do. Someone who can string sentences and paragraphs together in a coherent way, it's a skill that's relatively easy to find. I'm not saying that everybody can do it. I'm saying that there's people out there, they're relatively easy to find. And now we've got LLMs, ChatGPT, Grok, Perplexity, whatever it is, Claude. It's not just available, but it's also fast and cheap. But here's the catch. You need to understand this. The difference between a good copywriter, human or otherwise, and a great copywriter is knowing what to write about in the first place. It's a skill that basically, as far as I can tell, cannot be taught. And it can't be taught by me, and I would know because I've trained over 1,000 marketing consultants on copywriting in my career, and afterwards, after my great and wonderful training, guess what? Most of them still sucked because it's hard to know what to write. Now, this letter, it's a classic case of, well, looks pretty good, but it's not talking about the right stuff. Okay, my rant is over. Let's get back to the story. I got on the phone with the person who had put this together, and I was trying to troubleshoot the problems. And I had a lot of questions. It seemed obvious to me that if a massive hailstorm blew through a year before, that there would have been dozens or more than dozens of roofers pounding on every single door in the area for months trying to get these re-roofing jobs. People who had not taken action were probably not stupid. I mean, nobody willingly lives with a damaged, leaking roof, especially when insurance will pay for it. But instead, they were probably of the mindset that their particular roof was not damaged, so there was no action that was necessary to be taken. And then the company owner said that I was dead wrong. I said, what do you mean? Well, as Paul Harvey used to say, there was the rest of the story. The important part of the story, it turns out, the owner explained to me, that it was actually very likely that roofs that did not sustain any apparent damage were actually damaged anyway. He told me that the tile roof problems don't always manifest themselves right away, and that minor symptoms, but real symptoms, would appear a year later and begin to be visible, but only to a trained professional, okay, and only at close range. So the average person who's standing on the ground looking up at the roof, they're not going to notice or understand that there's damage, okay? And then he went on to explain something extremely critical, which is that if the homeowner did not file an insurance claim within 18 months of the storm, they're screwed. They're forfeiting their right to petition the insurance company for compensation. What? Listen to that again. There's likely hidden damage. You can't see it, but it's there. And if you don't file an insurance claim within 18 months of the storm, you're out of luck. And by the way, it's been 16 months. Jeez, why did he bother to include all that important stuff, that vitally juicy information? Why didn't he put it in this letter? Exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point, question mark. Oh my gosh, so frustrating. And here's the answer when I asked him that question. There was no answer, just crickets chirping. So basically, the most important thing, the part about you have to do it within 18 months and the damage is not even visible to you, an untrained non-professional, it was completely left out of the letter. Like I said, knowing what to write about is the key to great copywriting. Sometimes my job is so easy. It's so easy. All I have to do is extract these juicy details from people's brains and then simply put them onto the marketing piece. And that's exactly what I did here. So here's the revised version of the letter. Now, at a glance, it looks basically the same. It's on the same letterhead. It's got the same address. All that stuff is identical. But I added a headline and subheadlines. Here's what the first one says. Even if you think your roof was not damaged by the hailstorm in the spring last year, please take 60 seconds to read this important letter. And then here's the second one, which would be, I guess, the subheadline. You only have 2 more months to receive insurance compensation for roof damage, most of which is not detectable to the naked eye. Okay, boom, that's it. I just told the story in 2 sentences. And then it goes on. Dear neighbor, and then this is in bold. Tile roofs like yours are the most susceptible to hidden and unseen damage. And then the next paragraph. As you may recall, there was a significant hailstorm in Rockford on April 8th last year. Many homes' roofs were damaged, and you probably remember seeing several roofing trucks and repairs that occurred over the last year. Next paragraph. What you don't know is that we are now starting to see a lot of damage that was not initially visible to the naked eye, but rather affected the structural integrity of the roofing material. These problems are now starting to manifest in the form of cracks, tiles, hidden leaks, and other structural problems that can only be detected through an inspection by a professional roofing specialist or insurance adjuster. Now, here's the next subheadline. Why you must act right now. I mean, literally right this minute. By the way, what a great subheadline. I actually love that subheadline. This is an older letter. I wrote it a while ago, but man, that is a good subheadline. Here's the next paragraph. Insurance companies have a statute of limitations in their policies that limit the amount of time that can pass before they close the door on claims. The typical time of limitations, it's 18 months, which means that in 2 months, if you have not filed a claim, you are simply out of luck regardless of the damage, costs, or consequences that subsequently appear as a result of damage sustained from the storm. Subheadline, inspection is free, only takes 1 hour, and could save you $30,000 to $100,000. And then another subheadline, you must contact a company that specializes in historical roofing, or there is a 100% chance that the insurance company's offer will be too low. Now, that's a letter that's going to get attention and demand action. Let me recap what we just covered. Number 1, the original letter writer assumed that people would know stuff that they would have no way of knowing in a million years. How would they know that, Napoleon? Nobody knows. They wouldn't know it. Number 2, the stuff that the writer assumed that people would know was actually the most important stuff. So it's like you're expecting them to read minds or something. Number 3, instead, the original letter defaulted to generic crap that you might expect to see in any web copy, brochure, advertisement, or whatever. Tile roofing. Remember that like roofing systems? It said like 14 times. We didn't say roofing systems one single time in our letter because that's a dumb way to say stuff. Number 4, the specificity that the situation demanded was ignored in favor of, here it comes, you heard me talk about this before, platitudes. We don't want platitudes. We want identity. We want power and precision, okay? Number 5, the letter did not work. Now, there's 2 key questions that I always ask when I sit down to write a letter or an advertisement, any marketing piece. The first question is, what do I want the reader to know? What do I want the listener, the viewer to know? What do I want the person to know? And then second, what do I want that person to do? Sometimes I think we just sort of overcomplicate things by failing to address these 2 basic questions. Marketing, in its purest essence, is simply telling people what you want them to know, telling them the story in a reasonably compelling and interesting way, and then telling them what you want them to do. This is the first and most critical step to avoiding brain freeze when writing. Just ask those 2 questions. Copywriting is easy when you understand that knowing what to write about is the most important thing. If you've got something that you'd like me to review, maybe even on this podcast, feel free to reach out to me. You can get a hold of me at rich@level10contractor.com. Shoot it over to me. I'll take a look. I might rip it to shreds, but that's a good thing, right? No pain, no gain, whatever. Okay. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.